which in just a few hours we will see announced across the country. Perhaps tomorrow we'll start to hear filterings of the details of the third stimulus package that's to be announced in a major press conference. And then we'll start to see the actual press conference. But when will we see the bill? When will we see the law? What will be the deal provisions? And how do you get prepared for it? In this video, for the first time ever, I'm actually preparing you for third stimulus with documents. So get a pen and paper, unless you're ready to memorize a lot of stuff. And I'm going to go over how you get prepared to get third stimulus items ahead of time before they're even announced. And I'll prepare you how to get other types of money under third stimulus if the item you're looking for in the third stimulus doesn't actually happen. So much happening across the board. So go to the Friends channel, subscribe, hit that alert button, like the video. That alert button sends you an alert every time a new video comes live. I'll next be live at 1 a.m. Well, not live, but I'll be next back at 1 a.m. with EIDL, Pacific Standard Time, and then at 2 a.m. with PUA and unemployment. Then continue at 3 a.m. with Early Mornings LALATE, which is the instant premiere, and then the continuation 30 minutes thereafter. And also consider becoming a Purple Hawk or Purple Power or Calcino VIP. There's a link at the top of the video where you can click, and that'll send you to become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Get your pen and paper and let's get ready to rock and roll. Thank you, Julia, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Really appreciate it. I'm here. Are you here? Thank you, Tommy Chote, for becoming a Purple Hawk. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the comments about the hair as well. All right, first, let's get to the check. The check is quite interesting because the stimulus check, we always thought, hey, you don't have to do anything to get the check. Well, we're seeing an issue currently with the second stimulus check. You heard me bring it up on the video right before this. The issue is if you actually don't get the second stimulus check, the $600 one, will you be getting the third stimulus check? Or will you have to do something for the third stimulus check? IRS is now reporting that if you don't get the second stimulus check by January 15th, which is Friday, you may have to declare the non-receipt of that stimulus check on your tax return to then get it as a refund on your tax return. Well, the obvious question about that is, well, I don't do my tax return until April. Well, there's nothing preventing you from doing your tax return earlier to get the stimulus check right away. So what I'm preparing to say to you right off the bat is the worst case scenario, which is maybe you want to get your tax return ready pretty soon. If you don't see that stimulus check by the end of this week, to get your second stimulus check and maybe your third stimulus check, because that is the way to get it as a refund from IRS quickly. That is a very strange hot mess express that we never saw coming. Now, if you are someone that never files a tax return, if you're a person never has had to file a tax return, the even notion of filing a tax return may surprise you. But this may be the only way, I'm not telling you to do it just yet. I'm not telling you to do it right yet, but this is the way that you may have to actually trigger it. We're going to see clarity from IRS in the next few days. If you've not gotten the stimulus check by the 15th, you may have to file the tax return, IRS may say, for your 2020 tax return to get that refund. And if you're a person who never filed a tax return, this may come as a surprise to you. What I want to use as an example, just before I continue, is I had a viewer in 2020, last year, who was a senior citizen on Social Security, didn't have to file a tax return, doesn't make enough money. She understood the importance of getting the stimulus check. So what she did in February of last year was she went around to all her girlfriends and got them together and did all their tax returns, got them on file. They're all zeros, 00000, or Social Security was what, I don't know what it was. It was like $600 or something. It was no money, 00000. Filed it, and then that triggered her to get her stimulus check, and all her girlfriends got their stimulus checks. What I'm making very clear to you, Deanna's asking the question, is a great question. Non-filer would fix it? No. We're currently starting to hear rumbles so far that the only way to get the stimulus check potentially, we haven't seen this for fact yet, it's percolating, is if you don't see the stimulus check by the 15th, you may, I'm saying may, not fact yet, may have to file the tax return to get it sent as a refund. Really surprising. So get ready to maybe file your tax return, even if you never file a tax return. This is from the IRS's guidance so far. So that's the first thing. All right, and that's the stimulus check. The third stimulus check is same as issue. That is a big, big, big issue. And I don't want you to wait to file. If they do tell you have to do it, I don't want you to wait to April to file the tax return. File the tax return now so you can get the refund right now. Don't wait. Next, the $200 a month for SSI and SSDI. No, let me go to FPUC next. FPUC. This is a big issue. The FPUC retro and the FPUC going forward. What I want you to know is that you have to keep really good track on your piece of paper and pen which weeks you're getting the $300 for now. And I want you to mark the first week, it's the week from December this to January that. I want you to put it on a piece of paper. Why I want you to put it on a piece of paper? Because you're going to forget when I do this video 2 months from now. Because when Joe Biden comes in with FPUC $600 a week on top of your January FPUC at $300 a week, you have to sort of remember, wait, what was the first week I got the $300? I can't remember. Was it the 5th of January? Was it the 10th of January? So I want you to make a note because, there's always the odds that your state makes a mistake and doesn't pay you the first week of FPUC under Biden to replace the first week of FPUC under Trump. Remember, FPUC $300 a week is now second stimulus. Biden stimulus is going to be something like $600 a week. You want to make sure they go right over each other at the same week. You don't want Biden to start 2 weeks later. It's like, wait a second, where are my 2 weeks of FPUC Trump Biden on top of Trump? You're missing 2 weeks. So I want you to make a note of the first week on your paper that you got the $300 a week. All right, the next one I want you to make a note about. Okay, hazard pay is more than a note. Hazard pay is a big, 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 big job. I don't know if you want to do the big job now. If you've been with me since, since May, I've been making hazard pay videos, like 500 hazard pay videos. You know what I'm about to say. And so if you're new to me, if you've just joined as a subscriber, like in the last month or 2 months, you may not have heard this. But if you were an older subscriber, you know what I'm about to say for hazard pay. You better get your time sheets ready. You better get those time sheets ready. Hazard pay is based upon the hours you worked. You have to have a record about the hours you worked. Now, this is an enormous amount of paperwork, an enormous amount of work. You may not want to do it just yet because you may want to see that, one, it becomes law, two, that you're in the eligible classification. You may not be covered by hazard pay. Biden may change it, and you're not covered by the hazard pay that Pelosi said. Pelosi had you under hazard pay. Biden doesn't have you under hazard pay. But if you have extra time, you may want to just start doing it. The hazard pay requires proof of how many hours you worked. And Pelosi's hazard pay was January 2020 up to 60 days after the pandemic ended. Okay, you better know those numbers, better have those timesheets, better have those time cards. If you're an independent contractor, oh my God. If you're an independent contractor, you work by the gig, you better have those numbers ready. So this is a lot of documents. So I always have people. I always have people who send me, my daughter works at this. Is she going to get $10,000 of hazard pay? First question is anyone keeping track of her hours? Is anyone keeping track of her hours? How much is hazard pay? Under Nancy Pelosi's HEROES Act, hazard pay was $13 an hour from January to 60 days after the pandemic ended, based upon the number of hours you worked, including overtime, including part-time, including XYZ. Okay, but you have to keep track of your hours. So if you don't keep track of your hours, how's anyone gonna know how many hours you worked? How many hours? How many know you got how many hours you work? So Claudia Blanco just asked a great question, which I can't read it, but it's basically you worked a hazard pay job, then you were laid off. You got a different hazard pay job, then you were laid off. You got another hazard pay job, then was laid off. Got hired, got overtime. You got to keep track of all those hours. You got to keep track of all those hours. So, I always have these people asking me questions. If I worked, someone asked me on the IG room before this video, the video before this, I worked two essential jobs. Am I getting $20,000? No, of course not. But the other question is, are you keeping track of your hours? Because who's going to say you worked all these hours? So hazard pay, it's a lot of work. You may not want to do the work now, but you're going to have proof of all these hours. And hazard pay is not just for home care services, and Louisa. That's not what Nancy Pelosi wrote hazard pay is for. Hazard pay is literally 7 pages long under the HEROES Act of everything from Grubhub to Uber to Lyft to dishwashers in a restaurant. It's literally everything. So that's a lot of documents to keep track of. The next thing is all our nurses in the hazard pay, and there's nurses and there's an income level. So you want to make sure you keep track of all these numbers. The next one is SSDI and SSDI. The SSI, it's hazard pay is up to $10,000 under HEROES Act under Pelosi's bill. The next thing is the $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. The $2,400 of SSDI and SSDI is automatic, but you want to make sure everything else is kosher. You want to also make sure that you get the increase if they do an increase. Thank you, Tiffany, for the purple power. You want to make sure you are tied to the benchmark. SSI and SSDI does not have a lot of preparatory work to it, thank goodness, but you do have to track it. Next, the EIDL grant. You know what I'm going to say about the EIDL grant? There's always a person who says, I got $5,000 in the EIDL grant. Am I going to get the remainder of the $5,000 grant? My question to you is, where's the proof you got the $5,000? Where's the proof you got the $5,000? Well, it's in my bank account. That's not proof. Where's the proof you got the $5,000? What's the proof you got EIDL grant of anything before? I want the remainder of my $10,000 grant. Well, what's the proof you got the $1,000? It was in my bank account. Where's the bank account? It's closed. Okay. So if you got some EIDL grant before, you better get every document you have ready for that. So, for example, SBA sent out emails that said you're getting a grant. Get that email off of your computer, download it or print it out. If you got an EIDL loan and you're looking to increase it, get that file ready, get all those documents ready. PPP, if you got a PPP, get those documents downloaded and put on your computer as well. These things are all very, very important to have ready to go. What else? So we've covered hazard pay, we've covered FPUC retro, we'll cover FPC going forward. I'll do FPC retro in a second. We've done SSI and SSDI, EIDL. So we've done almost all the major document items. The next one is FPUC retro. You have to go into your portal for your unemployment and look and see if you were paid unemployment from July 25th to December. Which weeks you were paid? Were you paid every week? Is there a record in your state's unemployment profile that shows you were paid unemployment or PUA from July 25th to December? If there is in your portal, I would make a copy of that. You don't want that to disappear. Where's the record that you got unemployment from July 25th to December 25th? Do you have a copy of it? Do you have a copy that you got? Well, it's in my bank account. That's not a record. That's not a copy. You maybe want to go to your unemployment website and download and make a copy and download. Someone said, "Oh God, yes." As simple as that. Oh God, it's absolutely a big issue. There's every night there's 50,000 people coming in, or maybe no, on this channel. I would say there's almost maybe 300,000 people tune in to talk about FPUC retro. Where's the proof you got FPUC from July 25th? You got PUA or UI from July 25th to December 31st. Uh, uh, some people I worried that they don't even have a file claim for those weeks. I assume you all have file claims for those weeks. Some people just sort of say, "Oh, I was unemployed, but I didn't file a claim for that week." Remember, when we talk about FPC retro, we're literally saying that you were unemployed for those weeks and you already have a claim that's been paid out. If you don't have a claim that's been paid out from July 25th to December 31st, you can't be talking with me about FPC retro because they ain't gonna pay. That's not what FPC retro is. I had to appeal it. So there's Tina. So if they're not taking care of it, you may have appealed as well. So get this organized. This is very, very important stuff. Organized, of course, the Sandra Cruz. Yes. Someone just said this is helpful. I appreciate it. What does FPUC stand for? So FPUC goes on top of your UI, which is unemployment, and on top of your PUA, which is unemployment for independent contractors. It's currently $300 a week going forward, but Biden has said he's going to go forward and fix it to $600 and then go back and put it and pay for the weeks that people didn't get it. How can you apply for hazard pay? Isn't law yet. Isn't law yet. Isn't law yet. This country's so divided. Well, yeah, it is. I got my UI. I had to call in to reopen it. There you go. Get your donut in order. Get your donuts in order. I love that. So you see the amount of papers you need to really have ready for this type of stuff. It's important because otherwise there's no record of things. Next, let's go to rent and utilities and food and free childcare and free internet. If you have a 2019 tax return, get that tax return ready. Get that 2018 tax return. Get that 2017 tax return. When they go and ask you, when you say, "Hey, I want some free internet. How much you make last year?" I made this. Well, what's the proof you made that? Well, I don't file tax returns. Well, how do we know you made that type of money? I'm on benefits. Well, then get a copy of your benefit statement that shows you're on benefits. I'm on SSI and SSDI. This is my benefit statement. Get a copy of that ready. Because if you want to get rent or utilities or free food or free childcare or any of those things, especially in a second stimulus, let alone before we get to third stimulus, you better have a copy of these things. Just saying things doesn't work. And you absolutely have to be ready to pounce like a hawk. So at the 18-minute mark, let me give you a big update where we are if you're just joining me. This is Evenings LA with big updates about your third stimulus check and third stimulus package. What did I miss? I'm going to give you a big update where we are right now. Third stimulus check will be debuted by Joe Biden later this week. You're going to start to see some rumblings of it. You're going to start to hear a press conference of it. And ultimately, what I'm telling viewers is that you may not see the bill until sometime thereafter. In the second half of this video, I'm going to go over how seeing the bill is so critical to the situation. And that ultimately, when Joe talks about generally things, do not write it as law yet, because it may be just sort of generalized. The other thing that I'm telling viewers in this video is that third stimulus package will be dependent upon you being a purple hawk, as Scott Halm just wrote. But being a purple hawk requires you to really have papers ready. If you're doing EIDL or FPPP, you need to have documents. If you're doing hazard pay, you need thousands of documents. All the proof that you work these hours, thousands of pages of documents. I'm being exaggerated, hundreds of pages of documents, unless you got them on one sheet of paper. Proof of all these hours you worked. If you're doing FPUC retro, you better have proof that you were unemployed those weeks and you got paid unemployment benefits for the weeks of July to December. If you're doing FPUC going forward, you have to make sure you have all those weeks filed. If you're doing SSI and SSDI, you have to make sure you're on benefits and everything is right. So you see there's so many things here. Oh, and then I started the video with the stimulus check. Because there's a new report out of CNBC that says IRS is suggesting that if you don't get your stimulus check by the 15th, it's missing, and that they want you to file your tax return. What I'm telling you is file your tax return early. Don't wait to April to file your tax return. File your tax return as soon as we see this is law. It's not law yet, but if IRS says, hey, your check, you don't have your check by the 15th of January, you're lost, then you may have to file the tax return. You file your taxes for 2020 early to get that refund right away. They do refunds right away. They do refunds pretty quickly. You don't want to wait to file your tax return in April and get your stimulus check in June. You want to do it now and get your stimulus check as soon as you can, but don't do it yet because we're still waiting for this to become law. Not law yet. So let me give you what I think is going to happen with Joe Biden for third stimulus over the next few days. What I think Joe Biden is going to do when he has his press conference for third stimulus is going to say, we are a country. We come together as one. And we have to be kumbaya and we have to love one another. And I will do this by increasing your unemployment. And I'll be doing this by giving you a stimulus check. And we'll be one together. And frontline workers are very important. They deserve to be rewarded. And then you'll be like, okay, what did I just watch? I got no numbers out of that. What did I just watch? Was that hazard pay? That sort of sounded like hazard pay. What was that? He said frontline workers. That sounded like hazard pay. He said about more unemployment. Was that like abusive? What was that? So he may do a press conference like that. Just be prepared. It may just be as vague as you can imagine. He just goes to Nancy Pelosi's school of vagueness. It's just like, hey, we all need to be helped. We all need to be stimulated. Okay, Joe, how much? Uh, so I want you to understand is that's our bill. Okay, shortly thereafter, you may start to see news reports. I'm going to tell you right now, please tone it down with the news reports. You're going to see, I don't want to get in trouble. You're going to see some crappy news companies that say, they heard that Joe's going to do this with unemployment. Please don't send me 900 DMs because of a news report. Because on the third stimulus package, there's like 20 provisions we talk about on this channel. So we'll have 30 news reports about every provision. Rumor has it about this, and rumor has it about that, and rumor has it about this, and rumor has. Let's wait till we see this. Let's wait till we see the bill. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example how important the bill is. Let's do hazard pay under the bill. Joe Biden says hazard pay will be $5,000 a person. Okay. Everyone starts doing dances in their corner. I'll be like, hold up. Why are you dancing? Do you know you're covered under this hazard pay? Do you know that you're one of the essential workers under his hazard pay bill? Do you apply for the hazard pay? Thank you, Donna, for being for the super chat. Hazard pay, $5,000 is not grounds to dance in the corner. Why? Because one, who applies for it under Biden's bill? Do you apply for it, or does the employer apply for it? Does the employer who fired you, who hates you because you cheated on his wife behind, on overnight, who's going to apply for the hazard pay? Do you or the boss? That's the first one. Second, who are the essential workers under this hazard pay bill? Joe, teachers, period. Done. Joe's just getting hazard pay to teachers. That's, my wife and my wife and my wife and my doctor, my wife. They're just getting, teachers getting hazard pay. No one else is getting hazard pay. So don't do a dance until you know you're included in the hazard pay provisions. And please don't send me 5,000 DMs. Am I a hazard pay? Can I get a hazard pay? Can I get a hazard pay? I will wait for that bill and I will go through that bill every single line with you on camera. I will say, Justin, thank you for coming to Purple Hawk. I did this during the Heroes Act outside. I went through every single line of the bill and then I answered every single question. I'll do it again because we have to see who are the essential workers under the hazard pay bill. EIDL. EIDL could be a hot mess express unto itself. You could just predict 900 problems with EIDL until we see the bill. So let's wait till we see the bill that says exactly what we think it is. Remainder $10,000 grant. How's it going to say that? Remainder your $10,000 grant if you applied in 2021. What? What about 2020? What? So don't be a donut guy. Don't just assume it's going to land there. Hazard pay, EIDL. And then I get the SSI and SSDI. I can just envision the SSI and SSDI people sending me 9,000 questions because that is a very complicated item. The SSI and SSDI is a very complicated item. You first have monthly benefits on top of things. So first we have to ensure it's $200. Then we have to ensure it's on top of everyone or who it's on top of. Is it on top of just veterans? Is it also on top of SSI? Is it on top of 17-year-olds? Is it on top of 16-year-olds? Is it on top of 80-year-olds? Who's it on top of? How do you get it? Is it taxable? Is it not taxable? We have to hear all that. Then we have to hear about the upgrade, the lifetime upgrade. The reason why I always say on this channel up to 20% is because it's 4 sentences long. It's too complicated to even explain on camera. I just bought some more donuts for my hubby there. So the SSI, the 20% increase, could be insanely confusing. The new benchmark, that might be, really weird unto itself. I don't want to smell rats. It says here. Can we get some ice cream from Nancy? What about Delta dependence? Are they getting a stimulus check retro? I'm on a diet, no donuts for me. When are we going to broadcast this? When is this going to be broadcast? When is this over? I just love that. Oh my God, the equator's melting, so Scott Watts. The equator's melting. The equator's melting. Where's my check? This is just too. I get Ssdi and my son gets SSI. I receive my $600, but not his. Yeah, there we go. There's the problem. We getting Moolah in Ohio, PUA, and UI starting today. Oh, good. There you go. Mitch McConnell's on right now. On what? That's another video. What about hazard pay? Why don't they let you write the bill? Yeah, they should let me write the bill because they would be done. Then, what are you going to do? What are you going to broadcast when this is over? Oh, what I'm going to broadcast, Beverly, when it's over, is once it becomes law, it's going to take 12 months for everyone to get the money. It's going to take 5,000 years for everyone to get the money. People are going to be, I'll be answering questions to, 2040, 2024. I haven't gotten the EIDL is locked because the hazard pay is retro and the Fpuc is going forward. There's going to be problems left and right. Nothing moves slowly. This is the federal government. Everything is good. 2022, we'll be doing. Good evening. This is LALATE with your 9th stimulus check and 9th stimulus package for December 2024. How are you? I mean, it's hazard pay. Hazard pay is going to be applying for hazard pay will be a hazardous condition. I'll be the essential worker to ensure everyone gets hazard pay. It's just never going to end. It's just going to go on and on and on and on and on. So donut guys could be like, what are you folks doing? What are you doing? I'm like, we're getting money here. What are you doing? Donut guy would be like, so I never saw any money for that 3rd stimulus package. Whatever happened? I'm like, you're a donut guy. That's how you never got anything. Do we think we'll get the $1,400 in March? Yeah. Well, if IRS sends checks when they're supposed to send checks, yes. Now, the fact that I'm sitting here, I personally am shocked. I'm shocked tonight that I'm reporting that IRS is now talking about if you don't get a check by January 15th, there's a problem. I'm just shocked that I'm reporting this. I was shocked over the weekend when this channel broke the exclusive that millions of checks were not mailed for the 2nd stimulus package as of January 6th. But now I'm shocked to hear that IRS is saying, hey, you didn't get the check by the 15th. Just claim it on your tax return. I'm like, no, send the darn check out. What are you talking about? Hey, LA, our adult dependents going to get stimulus checks. That's what Joe Biden proposes. Yeah. I haven't received mine yet. Half of the viewers of this channel haven't received their $600 stimulus check. It's not like a minor little sort of, this isn't like the first stimulus package where some people here and there were getting stimulus. It's like a lot of people not getting the stimulus check. And to tell you the truth, not to say this is strange, but I think the more that people don't get the check, it helps the situation, because I think that Janet Yellen's going to come and say, wait a second. We now see hundreds of millions of Americans never got this check. So there's something clearly went wrong. Mail is very slow. It ain't that slow. Mail ain't that slow. Now, I think January 15th is too early a date based upon January 6th. I mean, that's only 2 weeks. That's not even a week after. It's just sort of early. I had to file mine on my taxes, Santiago Centrico Corp. There you go. Mine went to TurboTax. Government circus peanuts on the floor. When is California getting their vaccine shots? Oh, Gene. Okay. Should I talk about vaccine shots? I was going to talk about, I forgot to talk about vaccine shots. Should I talk about vaccine shots? Yes or no? Because there's so much developing about vaccines, and I never want to, go off tangent to other things. If I see yes, then I'll drop yes, yes, maybe. Then the screen stop. Yes, 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 no. Yes, and the IG. Yes. Oh wow, a lot of yeses. One no. Okay, no, no, no. Yes. No, no, sure, yes. Okay. So I think about 70% yes. So the breaking details are the following. This morning, I don't know if you caught morning's LALATE. The breaking development that happened this morning early in the day was the U.S. Surgeon General under President Trump and the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, who have always issued the guidance on the vaccination and the tiers, TIERS, not tears like you're crying, changed their policy this morning and said that effective today immediately, anyone 65 years or older should be able to get their vaccine starting today. This is a major, major development. The way CDC had established this until now was hospital workers, doctors and nurses were tier 1A, and they were getting their vaccine with the other people in 1A who are convalescent home individuals. CDC and the U.S. Surgeon General today came out and said what I have been saying for a while, which was that the tier 1A group was holding up the entire country. For some reason, these hospital people were going too damn slow. They're just tiptoeing. I know for a fact that 1A in Los Angeles has been sort of a fiasco. It's not like the doctor that's been working for 40 years as a physician. I hear 1A is including people who just became a lab assistant 2 weeks ago and does paperwork in the corner and doesn't even do anything for the lab, is 1A. So suddenly everyone is 1A and they're just like, yeah, it's just really slow. CDC had a cow. Said, listen, we can't do it. We're moving 1B up right away, and you're starting right today. Now, let me explain to you what's going on with 1B. 1B is 65 years or older. Is the first line of 1B. 1B is 65 years or older. They said effective today, 1B, you start getting your shot today. We don't wait a day for it. Now, I'm going to tell you why they did that. They did it for two reasons. The first one they told you, the second one they didn't tell you. The first reason is because 1A was going too slow. They said that publicly. The 1B, the reason why it didn't, the second reason they didn't tell you is the shots are going bad. The shots have been sitting around for 3 weeks and no one is doing anything with the shots. And it takes a fortune to store them, and you can't keep on storing them every single week indefinitely. So that California has 2 million shots in storage and they haven't done anything with them for 3 weeks. They said, listen here, you better start using these shots or they're going to go bad. So that is why you see this insane pandemonium. Last night on this show, I said the governor of California is a disgrace. 80% of vaccines in the state of California have not been used or staying in storage. What's going on? So 4 hours after that broadcast, Gavin Newsom came out and issued a news report, said, guess what? We're doing mass vaccinations at Disneyland and our amphitheaters across the country, starting right away. That was before the CDC ordered this morning. New York did the same thing 2 days ago, said, guess what? We're going to vaccinate 2 million people in 3 days. Everyone's like, what's going on here? The reason they're doing this, the shots are going bad. They can't keep the shots in storage forever. And people are saying, what are you doing, Gavin? You have 2 million shots in storage. Stop this. Now, here is a here is a twist to this. Here's a personal note to this. This is my personal opinion, not a fact opinion, not a fact analysis. This is my personal opinion. You're 66 years old. You know, you're pretty active. You walk in the neighborhood. You go to lunch with your girlfriends or whatever. If you're 66 years old, do you want to go to an amusement park that's 55 acres long, that has a parking lot that's 5,000 feet to the front door, stand in line in a 55 million acre parking lot in the thick of sun, and stand in line like a 16-year-old kid going to Woodstock and get a vaccination? Of course not. I don't know any 65-year-old is going to go to an amusement park that's 900,000 acres big in the thick of sun and stand there and walk through a parking lot. It's despicable. It is despicable. It's inhumane. If you look at the California website for the vaccination, it says get the documents ready from your employer. What employer? You're 65 years old. Who has an employer when you're 65 years old? Who has an employer who's 65 years old? Who has an employer who's 65 years old? And what 65-year-old is going to go to Disneyland and stand outside well, I don't want to use a name. Who wants to go to an amphitheater and have to walk through a 500-acre amphitheater to get a shot? It's insane. There's a reason why you have medicine, that you pay a medical, that you either have SSI or SS, you either have, whatever medical plan you have. And you want to go to your doctor. You want to go to your doctor and get a vaccine. You do not want to go to the state fair. You don't want to go to the state fair to get your vaccine. It's insane. Why aren't they going in cars? That's a great question. I don't know. So this is sort of the story last night on this channel was, where the hell are the vaccines? Then Gavin Newsom announced the mass vaccination. Then this morning, the Surgeon General said, we're doing 1A, 1B right now. The big news is that the 65 years old was all over the news. I mean, in a day in which Trump's impeachment is a very big story, obviously, for obvious reasons, the 65 years or older was a major story, because they basically said, you country, you're making a mess of this. You're not vaccinating anyone. All right, let me focus on then who's after 1B. After 1B was, let me see if I can remember it, but I think it was for anyone, I think it was 40 to 65 that has underlying major health issues, and also certain types of people in certain industries. Those guidance were created by CDC. California looks like they're trying to cut and paste them. Really not cool. If you know me personally, you may have heard me talk, in Instagram or off the record, about which categories are CDC and which are suddenly not in California. It's not cool. There's certain categories for CDC that says, hey, these are type of businesses. Let me give you an example. CDC has the banking industry. You have to have banks open. You can't have banks closed. So banks are very, very critical to the run of this country, just like grocery stores and things like that. So you have to have bank people vaccinated and grocery store workers vaccinated. Well, California is coming in like chopping and cutting things and taking things out. It's just really not cool. And so it's really insane. So, of course, what Joe Biden says, there's a whole other thing to this. There's millions of vaccines in storage under the Trump administration that have not been released. Why? I don't know. So Joe Biden says on day one, he's coming in. He said this like yesterday. On day one, he's coming in and releasing all these vaccines that are in storage, because they should not be in storage. You don't keep these vaccines in storage. You use them and you go to the next round. There should be zero vaccines in storage. You should be using them and just get going. And it's as simple as that. Very, very straightforward. You have to get 2 shots. Yes, on the current vaccines, which are the Moderna and the Pfizer, you need 2 shots. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be a 1 shot, but that looks like it's not going to be finished until about, or not be approved by the FDA until maybe February or March. So the good news with the single shot Johnson and Johnson shot is that people who are younger, who don't have underlying health conditions, that don't qualify for anything else, they may be able to get caught up with everyone else with the one shot, because because of where we are. And there you are. So that was a little bit extra long time than I expected, but there you go. Any questions about vaccines before we call it a night? And I'll see you at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All my pharmacies have them. Wow, I don't know which state you're in, because California, they don't have Zippo out here. They don't have anything in California. And why only 65 years old? What about disabled and ill? That would be 1C, so you're right after 1B. If you want those guidelines, you can go on CDC. Do you think the checks will be tied to being vaccinated? No. That was some really sickening bill that some crazy man wrote. Absolutely not. Are you getting the vaccine? Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm getting the vaccine. Yes. And, uh, everyone can have their own personal opinion, but let me just explain. I've had every vaccine you could have in your lifetime. I get the shot, I get the flu shot every year. I got the smallpox shot about 2 weeks ago. You don't get ill from a shot. Maybe you get a fever. Maybe your shoulder is hurting for 2 days. My shoulder hurt for 2 days ago when I did the last shot. But I mean, you're fine after 2 days. What's the big deal? You don't die. You don't go blind in an eye. All this stuff is sort of silliness. But if you don't want a shot, then don't get a shot. But with that, if you don't feel good, have some $12 ice cream. Then it's all good. Go to the casino. And with that, thank you for joining me on Evenings LA. If you've not joined this channel, consider joining. There's a link at the top of this video. Become a Purple Hawk, or a Purple Power, or a Casino VIP, move all the way. Just consider joining. Like this video. I will give you an update when I get my shot as well. I'll explain it to you on camera and the whole experience. And stay with LA for more. I'll see you at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with EIDL, then 2 a.m. with PUA, and then continuing thereafter with early mornings LA. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.